Hey folks, it's me, Jake Baldino, and yeah, it's that time of year. The time of year where we go back, think of our favorite games, and award them arbitrary awards that mean nothing. But it's been a really great year for video games. I know every year people in gaming come out and they say it's been a great year for games, and but this year actually has. And before we get started, just a disclaimer, all of us in the gameranx office put together these lists and deliberated, and these are our opinions. Yes! People on the internet have opinions, and yours are absolutely going to be different. The probability is actually stacked that you will disagree, and that's completely fine, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. But if you act like a jerk about it, you're a baby. You're officially a giant baby. But we're all going to agree to disagree because there were so many good games this year, and there were games for absolutely everybody, and that's what this is all about. We're just gonna kick it off with a bang, no pun intended. Let's talk about the best action-adventure games of 2016. The nominees are
Uncharted 4.
Done with this life.
How long have we been chasing this thing?
Long time.
Real long time. Just you and me.
Gears of War 4.
Huh. That's new.
Not that new.
Dishonored 2. Watch Dogs 2.
This broken-ass system marked me as a criminal risk. Linked me to some shit I didn't even do because it was probable.
Once in the system,
Always in the system.
Hitman.
This was probably one of the hardest categories to decide for, but the winner is going to be Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 just did a really great job closing out Nathan Drake's story, and while it was a very contained, very personal story, all the action and all the crazy stuff going on still managed to be really insane and exciting, and it kept us entertained from beginning to end. Considering it was probably one of the longer Uncharted games, it consistently entertained throughout. It was fun to play. The new mechanics they added, while not completely game-changing, really just made the game feel even more accessible and fun and challenging at the same time. We're all honestly obsessed with it here, so congrats to the team at Naughty Dog. This one's for you guys. You did a great job. Now with our next category, a lot of people don't like considering mobile games to be actual games, but the reality is that we like to talk about mobile games sometimes because people do play them. It's the way to keep busy on the train, it's the way to keep busy waiting at a bus stop, or anywhere in between. The fact that these games always go with you means I think we need to acknowledge them. So, the nominees for the best mobile game are
Super Mario Run. Pokemon Go. Super ArcLight. Super Cat Bros. Clash Royale.
Andrew, guess what the winner is?
Clash Royale.
No, wrong. It's Pokemon Go. Yeah, it's Pokemon Go. Congratulations. Now, while the game kind of, I guess, flopped and really interest bailed on it, when it came out, it took the world by absolute freaking storm. People were swarming the streets, filling parks, talking to each other, engaging in this game that got you outside and got you catching Pokemon, whether you were a casual or hardcore fan. And I think that needs to be acknowledged. Our next category is one that we love to include. We're going to include it every year because the way gameranx is, we don't have enough time to really cover the smaller games, so we love this award more than anything, honestly, the best indie games. There was a solid lineup of indie games this year, from very small studios and just PC-based games to bigger ones supported by Xbox One and Sony. So with that being said, the nominees for the best indie game of 2016 are
Stardew Valley. Inside. Abzu.
The whole reason
Oxenfree.
Alex brought the radio is because you can sometimes pick up frequencies to stay.
Firewatch.
This is a tough one, and I know it's going to be contentious to a lot of people, but we chose Firewatch. While many people consider it just a walking simulator, it does go above and beyond that, especially not only with mechanics, but with the way the game looks, the way it sounds, the way you care about the characters, and whether you were divided or not by the ending. We personally had a great time with it. The voice acting, the acting, and the performance really just nailed it all. Not only that, the music is absolutely killer, and we're gonna be thinking about Firewatch for probably a few more years to come. Personally, I probably would have picked Inside, but my vote got canceled out by everyone else this year. With our next category, we were introduced to a ton of new characters this year. Some were really shitty and awful, but we had some really good ones, so we want to highlight the best new character from a game. The nominees are going to be
Sam from Uncharted
I
4.
wanted to see me rot in that cell for the rest of my life, and I nearly did.
He's a Sam. Man, if I had known, I swear to you, I would have
You
come
would
out.
have come back.
Lincoln Clay from Mafia 3.
Family and who you're born with is who you die for.
Professor Kukui from Pokemon Sun and Moon. Wrench from Watch Dogs 2.
Whole lot of people.
Yeah, getting screwed.
You don't even feel it. Just numb.
Winston from Overwatch.
And the winner is going to be, let me open up my imaginary envelope, Winston from Overwatch. Now, Winston may not be your favorite character, and it might not be some of ours, but what we really wanted to do was just highlight all of the Overwatch characters. I think that's probably one of the best things about Overwatch is the fact that so many people got attached and fell in love with all of these characters. There's a reason there's a huge community and culture built up so quickly around these characters. Yes, there's also a lot of porn, and yes, it's actually pretty good. You fucking dirty boy. But we just thought that most of the Overwatch characters were very, very special, and we couldn't decide which one to really pick, so we went with Winston, but really we give it to all of the Overwatch characters. And I think we're all in agreement here that we didn't want to give it to Nathan Drake's shitty brother, who doesn't deserve any awards because he's a scoundrel. And that leads me to another point. I want to reiterate how hard it was to make these lists of nominees. Like, we were just sitting around coming up with them, and the debate was pretty intense because there's so much stuff this year. Like, seriously, if I gave you a list of every game that we thought was decent this year, it would blow your mind. You know, it's the year that we've gotten announcements that we never would have expected. We've gotten remasters we never would have saw coming. We also got games that we never thought were actually going to see the light of day, like The Last Guardian and Final Fantasy 15, and they're actually in our freaking hands. And really, probably the word of the year was definitely hype, and just the sense of not just being hyped for things, because there is a lot of hype this year, but also how we should manage our expectations and stuff for games, and how we should follow games up until their release. So that leads us to our next award, the biggest disappointment of 2016. You'll probably see this coming, but the nominees are going to be
No Man's Sky. Mighty Number 9.
But that's just what we call it. You'll be calling it, why are you doing this to me?
The Division. Street Fighter V. Star Fox Zero.
And the winner, I guess you would call it, for the biggest disappointment of 2016 is going to be, say it with me now, No Man's Sky. Yeah, I know you guys probably think we've been really hard on No Man's Sky this year, but for good reason, and a lot of other people have. Now, I do want to give credit to them, is that they have now finally updated the game, and they're attempting to make it better, but ultimately, for a lot of people, No Man's Sky didn't turn out to be the game that anyone thought it would be. Now, this goes back to what I was saying with managing your hype and managing your expectations, but this game had so much freaking potential, and that's really the biggest shame here, and that's why we chose it for the biggest disappointment. Next up, we're going to talk about our favorite RPG. Now, RPGs are a very difficult category because it's so wide. There's no clear definition of what exactly an RPG is. There's the classic top-down PC games. There's stuff like Fallout and Skyrim. There's JRPGs. So we spent a lot of time thinking about this one, and we got into pretty loud arguments, so I hope you like our pick. The nominees for the best RPG of 2016 are
Final Fantasy 15. Pokemon Sun and Moon. Dark Souls 3. Blood and Wine. Tyranny.
This was a tough one. Honestly, with all 5 of those nominees, it came really close. But our winner is Dark Souls 3. Honestly, a series that, despite having now a pretty big fandom, still does not get enough love, and we had to give it to it because Dark Souls 3 is near perfect. It's probably one of the better games in the Soulsborne series. And while it's definitely not perfect, it is the ideal RPG. It's incredibly challenging. The world building is amazing. Despite having a story that some people will argue takes a back seat to the gameplay, but that's not really a problem because the gameplay is just so good, and that rush of release you get from beating a difficult boss after so long is just like no other game. Speaking of nice surprises, our next category is going to be biggest surprise. These are games that either exceeded expectations or came out of nowhere and totally left a smile on our face, as stupid as it sounds. The nominees for the biggest surprise of 2016 are
Stardew Valley. The Last Guardian. Pokemon Go, Final Fantasy 15, Watch Dogs 2,
And the winner is
Should have been Watch Dogs 2.
Stardew Valley.
You made the right choice, Jake.
I think we made the right choice here.
did make the right
Stardew
choice.
Valley is a very small, very independently developed game, but it turned out to be awesome. It's got bits of everything. It's got some RPG goodness. It's got your dungeon crawling. It's got your Harvest Moon. It's got your farming. It's got your making friends in town. It's got your economy.
It's got waifus.
It's got waifu. It's just good. It's addictive, and if you've ever wanted something that's like an evolution of Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley is definitely the game. It's been on PC, it's just being released on consoles, and it is totally worth playing if it's your type of thing. And even if it's not, give it a try, because it's really cool, and we've all been hooked on it like crazy for a year now. The next one on our list, it might make some people angry, but that is the best open world game. This is an interesting topic this year because it always seems like developers really push open world game design, but this is the first year where we didn't have tons and tons of bang up awesome open world games. So with that being said, we do have plenty of nominees, and they are going to be
Dying Light, the following: Mafia 3, Far Cry Primal, Watch Dogs 2, Final Fantasy 15.
Our pick is Watch Dogs 2, honestly, because it does improve on the first one so well and just is a much more fun and enjoyable game, and a game you do want to spend time in that world, that we had to give it a nod, and this was the best category. It made sense to really talk about this game. You know, some of Watch Dogs 2's aesthetics and stuff might be considered cringeworthy to some. It might not be perfect for everyone, but actually playing in this world and the new added hacking and the options you have to tackle every scenario just makes it a good game, and it kept us busy for a while. Plus, I think it's definitely worth highlighting in terms of open world games. This game, more than any other release this year, has some of the best NPC interactions around. We're really hoping, though, if eventually there is a Watch Dogs 3, it's going to be even better. It could be crazy. But we're getting down to the wire of our final categories. So with that, I just want to take a break for a second, and I want to acknowledge some very special people in the audience who make gameranx what it is every day. Why are you guys looking at me like that?
You're looking at us.
You don't know what's happening, do you?
I know exactly what's happening.
You know what's happening. You know what's up. Come here, guys. Come here. Come here. This is Andrew, the new guy, and this is Tom, the camera guy. You're both wearing beanies. They are behind the scenes with us all the time, just making gameranx videos and coming up with this stuff, as well as Falcon, you know, the disembodied voice up from the heavens. But, whatever. With that, hang on. Hang on.
I understand why you have to rope us into your shenanigans.
You started this war, and I'm gonna end it.
Hey!
There you go. Finally. Now you guys can shut the fuck up. Never mind the sandwich bullshit. We're here to talk about video games. Let's get down to the big categories. Next topic up is best graphics. Now, I want you guys to know that this category we just considered raw graphical power. Not really visual and art style, but just the games that really pushed out the most. And this is an interesting topic because this year, more than many other, graphics have been the topic of discussion. GTX 1080, GTX 1070 have been released to critical acclaim. Not only that, but we're also getting PS4 Pro and Xbox One S pushing 4K. Everybody's talking about graphical power, so we had to make a category for it. So the nominees are going to be
Uncharted 4,
I need you on this one.
Doom, Battlefield 1,
Yeah.
Gears of War
Sounds
4,
about right.
Forza Horizon 3.
The winner for best graphics is Doom, and it makes complete sense because Doom, since we were all kids, has really been pushing the boundaries for graphics technologies in game. The original Doom was mind-blowing with its first-person technology. Doom 3 really knocked it out of the park with atmospheric lighting and scary lights and darks and effects that we haven't seen in games before. And the new 2016 Doom is blazing fast with tons of atmospheric effects. This game looks absolutely incredible, but also moves at breakneck speed, and it's incredibly impressive, and we gotta give it to PC. On PC, this game is like no other game this year. The next one is going to be Best Overall FPS, which is a very hard category because there are so many different first-person games this year. First-person shooters especially, that are all highly competitive and awesome, and they all brought their A game this year with campaigns. So this was a hard decision to make. But let's get into it with the nominees.
Modern Warfare Remastered, Overwatch, Titanfall 2, Battlefield 1, Doom.
The winner for our favorite first-person shooter game of 2016, and a lot of people are going to hate us for this, Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 is awesome, okay? Like, we all love it. We've been playing it nonstop. It takes what was great about the first one and expands upon it. Despite having some betas that weren't really too hot, the final game really definitely surprised us all. Not really surprised. We knew it was going to be good. Not only an expanded multiplayer with a little bit more customization and better maps, but the game also, like I said, has brought its A game with a single-player campaign that, while it's not really long, it is fine-tuned, entertaining, and the mechanics change from moment to moment, and it's amazing. I do want to give credit where credit is due. We put Modern Warfare Remastered on this list, and it's great, but Infinite Warfare also had a decent campaign, and Battlefield 1 is amazing. But weighing both single-player and multiplayer, Titanfall 2 really stuck in our hearts. So, it looks like we're down to the final category here, our Game of the Year. Now, I just want to say before we get started with this, as someone who has been at gameranx from the start of the channel, I never thought that this would happen, so we seriously can't be here without you guys watching and chiming in and giving us feedback. We're learning from you guys, and we're having a lot of fun doing it. So, I guess with that, we should get into our Game of the Year nominees.
Final Fantasy 15. Overwatch. Titanfall 2, Dark Souls 3, Doom, Stardew Valley, Uncharted 4,
Or we can just end it right here.
Firewatch,
This job for 13 years and nothing like this.
Hitman, Gears of War 4.
The gameranx YouTube team's choice for Game of the Year 2016 is going to be Doom. Yeah, you're goddamn right, because Doom is awesome and kick-ass and amazing. What Doom did was really just kind of come out of a hole. We had no expectations for it. We didn't know what we were going to get with this new Doom, and it knocked it out of the park. It's a fast-paced, blazingly fun, modern shooter that still manages to really echo back and hearken to classic shooters and really not really give up its soul, you know what I mean? It also just has such a badass attitude, a give no fuck about any type of modern game design at all, and we have to commend them for that. It's not a perfect game. No game is. We stand by that. Every game has its faults. Doom's is definitely its multiplayer, but the single-player campaign is incredibly challenging and also surprisingly replayable. This game has provided us all hours and hours and hours of memorable fun that we're not going to forget, so that's why we really got to highlight it. Now, I know for a fact, 9 out of 10, there is a huge chance that your pick for Game of the Year is completely different, so we do want to hear from you guys down in the comments. I'll also be on Twitter, @JakeBaldino. You can argue with me over there. Come at me. I got death threats last year. I'm looking forward to some more this year. Can I say that?
Did you really?
Yeah, can I say that?
Yeah, say it.
What would be really cool is we want to see your list down in the comments. Leave us your top 10 games of 2016. What are your favorites? If you like this video and leave a comment of your favorite games this year, we're going to go down in and randomly choose one winner to win a free PSN, Xbox, or Steam gift card of their choice. But that's it, guys. Like I said, thank you for a great year. It has been an awesome year for games, and honestly, I can't wait to take a break and play more of these games. But thank you guys for everything. We still got videos coming out, but we will see you guys in 2017 with a bunch of new stuff. We're cooking up some cool stuff. I'm looking forward to it. I think you guys will too. But as always, I'm Jake Baldino. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.